So anyway, as I was being interrupted by some dude over there editing his whatever he's editing in his computer.
The thumbnail for your video.
Hey, yeah, whatever. After you've seen my last video, I did a camera review on a film camera I recently purchased called the Ricoh YF Super 20. I hope I got that name right. But that link, that little box on the bottom of the video, you can click on that and watch that video after this is done. So today I decided to do another review on a camera I also purchased. Seems like I'm buying like lots of film cameras and whatnot, right? So today I decided to do a review on the Canon GIII. Wow. I decided to do
completely different camera.
on a different camera. All that is. Today I'm doing one on the GR500. It's a camera that's never been released to the public. It's a camera that everybody wants. It's got the flippy screen. You know, it doesn't. It's not in the hot shoe. You know, it's perfect. You can do anything, and it shoots in 3D, so you can see yourself in real life. So on the camera I purchased, there's something that you can tell that I really like is the style of it. It's very small, very compact, very easy to carry, unlike most of my camera gear that I have in my bag. The one thing I really enjoy a lot about this camera is the easiest way to focus on it. As you can see here, you have a focusing lever here. As I was shooting this camera, I realized that at first using it's quite awkward because it's very short throw when it comes to focusing. It takes a while to get used to, and of course I took off the strap that came with it because it got in the way when I was focusing many things. So in this camera you can put it on aperture priority, which is on A. And on the front of the lens you have the light meter, so it can read the light coming into the lens, and so that way your exposures are correct when shooting. You also have a check light here to make sure that your batteries are still okay when shooting it, because you use batteries to read the light. This particular camera is called a rangefinder. Canon were trying to compete with the Leicas of the day, because Leica was pretty great when it came to rangefinders, and so Canon wanted to do a camera that was not only affordable for people to use, but also it was easy for people to understand and make it more portable. For people to use this type of camera. I would say that this, compared to my other two cameras I've had, I still prefer the Ricoh one that I reviewed before, because it's a lot easier. You don't have to focus as much. There's just no hassle at all of using it. But this camera, it's still 20 times better than my other camera that I also reviewed, which is my Olympus. The Olympus camera that I reviewed, especially when you pull the advanced lever back, it doesn't get stuck. It moves really easy. It's no hassle at all. And even loading the film on the back here, I can't open it because I have film. It has a clamp where it holds the film in place, so that way you don't have to worry about keeping the film from flapping around, and it doesn't get stuck easily. So yes, this also has and also here on the bottom here you have, it tells you the ASA or the ISO. I think it goes to 1000, I think, or no, it goes to 800, I think, on this one. And actually, maybe because it's old, it's a bit stuck sometimes. Maybe I need to clean it up or something like that. But this camera I bought It was in pretty good condition. I've had any issues with it so far compared to my Olympus one that I bought. And I don't know, I mean, like, it's solid built. It's built like a tank. And I would say, like, using this camera has been a good experience. A lot of the shots I've taken so far from this lens, which is a 40mm 1.7, it's been quite sharp. And you also get some pretty cool bokeh on this particular camera, which I bought. And I would say, like, for this particular camera, if you're wanted to travel with it and you want something that's portable and you've never experienced a rangefinder, you know, I would go for this camera. I don't know, when I bought this camera, it wasn't, I don't know, I would say less than $100. I bought this camera, it might be more. There is a black version of this, which I saw online and I bought, but it was too expensive. And it was poorly conditioned. It was rusted out and the lens looked pretty bad. So this camera, there's plenty of them, make millions of them. I would say this camera and maybe like the Olympus Trip 35 are kind of like the popular go-to cameras when starting out with film photography, because they're small, they're light, and they have a built-in light meter, so it's easier to shoot your exposure correctly. The only difference between the Olympus Trip 35 and this camera is that it doesn't have any batteries, so you're just reading off a celluloid meter, which is like built around the lens compared to this camera. It's a shame that Canon didn't do any more rangefinders. It would have been awesome to see them do more rangefinders, and awesome. It would have been interesting to see what it could have done, because they had a good setup. I mean, I could see Canon competing with like competing more with like it's just something like Nikon. Nikon did a rangefinder, and I thought that was awesome too, but they kind of just stopped doing it after a while. Kind of like the Mamiya's when they did the Mamiya's when they did their 35mm film cameras. They just did a few and then they just stopped. So yes. So pros and cons on this camera. Pro, like I said before, is it's very light. Well, I don't say light. It's a bit heavy after a while. I know my friend who was shooting the thumbnail for this video got pretty heavy after a while. So it can be quite heavy after a while holding it. If you're wearing around your neck as a strap, as I was originally, it's not too bad. But after a while, the heft starts to build up a bit, because this is solidly built. You know, it's not like cameras today where it's made of plastic and sometimes quite cheap. But you know, back then Canon was really trying to make something that was hefty, that lasts a long time. Another pro is just the way you load the film and the way you can get ready to shoot. It's no problem. I would say this is kind of like a 1960s version of like a modern 90s 35mm point and shoot camera, where you just put batteries in, you just shoot it, don't have to worry about it. Another pro of this camera is that the advanced lever is very quick. It's very easy. It doesn't get stuck. Maybe because this is a good condition one, and I have no hassles with it at all. I will also say that it was better than my Olympus, the Olympus one that I had. What was it? I forgot the name of it, but that's also another video I did. It always gets stuck, and that camera was made in the 80s, while this one's made in the 60s. So maybe like quality changed in the last 20 to 30 years. So yes. Now you're probably thinking, what is the con? I say pro, but con of owning this camera. I would say that the con of this camera is that it uses batteries that no longer exist. I can't tell you the name of the battery because I didn't do any research on that. But you can go on many sites and they can tell you. The battery that uses it is kind of out of date. So if you have to use the battery for the light meter, it might go out, it might not work. But you can always use a light meter that you can buy, like or just buy a light meter app, or get a light meter app on your phone. Another thing I would say about a con of this camera is 40 millimeter, which there's nothing wrong with 40 millimeter. For me, it's a bit of an odd number in terms of like shooting. But to be very honest with you, I've had no issues with it. Like with the images I'm getting and the things that coming out of this camera, I really have been impressed. Another con I will also say, I think those are like the only two cons I have really. To be honest with you, there's a lot more pros than cons. I mean, because Canon really did a good job with this camera. I think it does live up to its hype. A lot of people have been talking about it all the time, and it does live up to the hype. You know, maybe I'll try the T3, the GIII T3s. I don't know, T5s. Maybe those also live up to the hype as well. But I think this camera does live up to the hype, and I think you should try one of these if you're interested in getting back into film photography and things like that. So yes. So now you're probably thinking, well, you have a camera and you've been shooting with it. What kind of images did you take with these? So let's get to the images, and I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I'm also posting photos and artwork in my Instagram. Hope you guys enjoy what I'm doing so far. Apologize if I've been posting a lot because I've been busy, but I haven't forgot you guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next one, and the next one, and the next one.